and it forces fights constantly, and Night Stalker really wants to play around vision and take advantage of being able to find his opponents and keep them contained.
You also mentioned that synergy with Night Stalker making everything nighttime and Lycan functioning better at night.
Yeah, Lycan's got that night vision, so it can work well.
Lycan is also a way to actually scout a bit with the wolves, so when you don't see anything, you at least see something from the wolves, so you can get some information.
Mirana chosen from LGD, and we've seen Night Stalker Mirana as a little death squad throughout this TI, waltzing around, picking
They
up
play
heroes.
it mid, though, mostly. Maybe actually goes more the older build with the Scepter.
One thing to note about DC, which I think is one of their weaknesses, I think their core players are very limited on their hero pools. We've seen Abed playing the same 3 to 4 heroes ever since the group stage. Mason's been mostly playing that, that Sven, Lifestealer, Lycan, and they picked both of them incredibly early here. I think worrisome about either them being picked by LGD or banned.
Yeah, they're probably afraid that they're going to ban them, and it just seems that they really want to have their comfort picks in this game.
Dazzle's great. He's, he for what he lacks in catch, Spirit Breaker kind of makes up for. So in that sense, they're a good 4 or 5 support combo. Spirit Breaker will force the fights. Dazzle will help your team win those. Works really well with Lycan and his summons, and if Quap ever gets into a sticky situation, you can shallow grave him and bail him out there.
Speaking of course with limited hero pools, I think Ame has been playing like terribly in Troll, a disproportionate amount compared to other position 1s.
Yeah, and
the Troll has most been with Magnus. 11 has been playing Magnus a lot on the offlane, but
I'm starting to get a better feel on Troll. I'm finally I'm coming around to it. I'm understanding it. He's very good against other carries. He just wants to get on top of them and bash them.
Yeah, he's very good against carries like Sven, Luna.
We saw Miracle's Troll the other day against the Luna, and he was just on top of the Luna, and Luna was trying to be a carry, but he was just running away. He couldn't do anything.
And there's the Chaos Knight.
DC definitely lacking in AoE. Lucian heroes could present a big problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, bring up what we brought up earlier in the day, that Chaos Knight has had some unbelievable games, getting a heart and feeling unstoppable. He's also had some very pathetic games where, without any good kills in the mid game, he's kind of absent, but at the very least it's another stun for LGD.
More lockdown for the Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
The Chaos Knight should be quite good against Lycan, right? Because both Chaos Knight and Lycan really want to fight during their ultimate, so whenever Lycan is going to ultimate, Chaos Knight can ultimate to be able to fight them during the
that's a good
Lycan
point.
ultimate.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Lycan's not going to just run into a bunch of CK illusions. So it could be a reactionary ult. I would worry about Timbersaw for LG, like a Timbersaw picked by DC here. I think that DC's definitely going to pick up some sort of AoE to help deal with the CK.
LGD's
Must be their offlane, right?
Yeah, are we liking for F-Zero?
LGD's
Yeah, for F-Zero. They could do Timbersaw. I think Spirit Breaker is enough catch alone.
There it is. Magnus for LGD. Many teams were first banning Magnus up against LGD, but this is also really nice with Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight historically has a very difficult time farming. Magnus can use Empower to give Chaos Knight a much faster opportunity to gather up gold in case he can't get those kills.
It's pretty unusual though, because Chaos Knight, most of his damage is from his illusions, which you don't really empower. Usually you just want like a BKB carry that doesn't have any illusions.
Yeah, I kind of like where DC's at right now. Final ban Enigma from LGD. I think it was a pretty solid ban. That would have been some nice AoE to help deal with all the CK illusions. But what do you guys think about Timbersaw? Any opinions?
I think he works well with the Spirit Breaker because Spirit Breaker locks down a hero, and Timbersaw's problem is if people are like running away, so you need stuns. The only problem is that they actually only have Spirit Breaker.
Yeah.
You usually want something with a lower cooldown than maybe his ultimate to set up kills for the Timbersaw.
So maybe some more disable. Let's see, we have Sand King is still in the pool. That could be an option.
Enigma ban was very good, I think, from LGD. It could be worked very well with DC's lineup.
Having a lot of interrupts for DC is going to be really important. Not only is it AoE and control for the CK and his illusions, or lockdown for the Mana, but also the Rasa is going to be shackling people. And if you can't interrupt shackles, that's a long duration control.
I think Queen of Pain has to go for Yules to do that, because either Lycan or Dazzle has an interrupt.
Oh, you're thinking Queen of Pain needs to be an interrupter at this point.
Maybe.
Or Orchid.
I mean, Lycan can just go book and just run up the Shadow Shaman, then he can't do anything. So
true. Meepo on Abed. The crowd loves it. I know the crowd loves Meepo anyways, but of course, Abed, one of the most famous Meepo players out there, grinding his way to over 10K MMR with it. And of course, I'm thrilled that we get the chance to see it here on main stage. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Day 9. And indeed, what a way to finish the draft. Digital Chaos getting that elusive Abed Meepo in as the final pick. I mean, the question is, folks, is how good of a Meepo game is this?
It's pretty damn good. He can snowball really hard. The lane is pretty good for him as well. He doesn't really have to deal too much with those right clicks from the Mirana. He can actually just tank it up a bit. And then, as we know, Meepo goes to jungle and he does what he does. And he has Howl benefit on top too. So this could be really cool. And they have this this pressuring lane, it looks like. They're going to have Queen of Pain. Maybe they even do some type of aggro tri-lane here for DC. Maybe they do like Spirit Breaker, Queen of Pain, Dazzle. We'll see Boba moving, of course, but to try to pressure that CK at least in the start. We're blessed, dude. We get a Meepo game, the first Meepo game of the tournament here.
Something that, exactly, that was being waiting for throughout the group stages. We obviously saw it time and time again being banned out against teams like Digital Chaos, having Abed on this Meepo.
Howl with Meepo is also something absurd that we don't get to see too often.
I mean, Howl with Meepo,
extremely good.
The heal bomb from Dazzle, of course, there's a lot of synergy going on from Digital Chaos' lineup. And as you said, do LGD have the tools to deal with an Abed Meepo heading to the jungle, getting this free farm and becoming this very, very big force? 20 minutes in with the stat build, almost certainly getting those Dragon Lances out. It's going to be scary. We're going to see what happens here. At the same time, LGD's lineup, an interesting thing that you mentioned upon, we've got Somnus on the Mirana.
Yeah,
they don't seem to have played this for a few months by the looks of it.
They haven't played it in quite a while. I know he used to play it, and then I was talking to Jack a little bit, and he was saying how they kind of substitute the Lesh as a substitute for that Mirana instead of like having that one. They kind of suit the same needs of that damage in the mid lane. But this could be really cool. The one concern I have for DC is their catch. Their catch right now is Bulba.
Yeah.
Sure, Abed can get out of control, and that's when the nets start becoming much better for that, but it still is going to be a little bit concerning for them to deal with that massive team fight that LGD can bring to the table too. So they need to have a good early game. I'm going to be looking at Bulba and making big plays. The Skewer, 11 actually puts himself on the high ground with Dubu.
Yeah, and they're going for a man versus man. They have got Mason in the neighborhood as well. He's going to come in from behind, and in fact with the heal bomb, 11's being brought down.
There's an arrow.
Arrow flies through. Will connect. Who's going to get the first blood? That's the question. It's close. LGD do get the first blood. That arrow is certainly making sure that LGD are able to take it. DC, of course, will get the trade, but that little bit of bonus gold going the way of LGD.
It's always huge. Like, this is an offlaner who can struggle to get some experience from time to time as a Magnus. Sure, this time around he's versus a Dazzle Lycan. He should be able to get a good amount up there, but getting first blood, that's the dream right there. Now he's got so much more region to deal with. He can trade hits better. He should have a pretty damn good matchup up there now.
Yeah, and as sort of the panel said, they were talking about whether this aggressive tri-lane as such is going to come out. It's going to be, by the looks of it, just the safe lanes, and indeed, did you mention this Magnus lane up on top? Okay. Who's going to come out on top of these laning stages? Do you feel that there's someone that has got the better matchups because of this?
I'm a little bit worried for the Queen of Pain. I think Bulba has to make a lot of space for that one. He does have the Stout Shield already to pressure that lane. I think we're going to have like mostly trade farms, to be honest with you. All lanes seem fairly even. I'm not super comfortable with most Meepo matchups. I know he has like reduced base damage, but this guy's a master of Meepo. He should be able to do just fine with it. And he can at least push the wave out faster than Mirana. Mirana lacks in mana to be able to spam Starstorm in comparison to Meepo using Pool.
Yeah. And I think it's certainly going to be interesting to see how LGD do deal with the Abed Meepo, because there's no way that you kind of come into this game and you don't expect that Meepo to come through. It's hard to believe that this has kind of sneaked past LGD in the drafting phase. They must have known that there was the chance that this was happening, and you'd expect that they've got some sort of a plan to deal with it.
Yeah, the thing is that they did pick the Queen of Pain in the first two. That can be that big deterrent, because we know Abed loves that Queen of Pain, but it's a really smart move. DC putting in the off lane, and now they're going to put the pressure quite hard for this Queen of Pain and Spirit Breaker versus this dual lane. Night Stalker should probably, Victoria on the Night Stalker should probably stay down here just at the beginning to make sure that they aren't able to pressure the CK at the start. Because a couple levels and then the safe lane is fine. Once Ame has 1 or 2 points in the reality rift, they can start to threaten Bulba whenever he steps up. Because like the panel mentioned, PPD was saying, there's like very little ways for them to actually stop the shackles from the Shadow Shaman, which can be super punishing in that lane.
True, and on this top lane as well, as sort of as you mentioned earlier, the fact that Levin gets that first blood, he's going to do all right here, isn't he? When it's just him and Mason, as you say, trading farm in the lane, maybe the Dazzle heads over, tries and gets a bit of a look in, but unlikely they're going to be able to kill this Magnus with the availability of the Skewer to escape.
It's up to 11 to be the big team fight for LGD. He is pretty much all of it for them until the Mirana starts getting more online. So him having a good start is crucial for them here into the mid game. If he gets an early blink timing, it could completely mess up everything that DC has. But it's the same thing. It's the Meepo. The Meepo change puts a wrench into everything because a couple charges comes out from Boba. They get some nice nets once the Meepo gets the double Meepos out. And that's where you can see the Mirana just dying over and over again to tower dives. So we're going to be watching the 2-4s as we do tend to right now in the meta, how they mirror each other's movements.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for the time being, this bottom lane, DC have to be careful. Once there's a couple of levels on both of LGD supports, a lot of catch and control to try and deal with this offlane, not offlane Queen of Pain as it is at the moment, teaming up with the Spirit Breaker. Arme, CS at the moment, looking pretty good, not being slowed down too much by the presence of both Forev and Bulba in this bottom lane.
Yeah, killing Arme is a bit difficult. Killing the supports is where they're going to be looking for their options. Bulba's now level 2, so they have that threat now to be able to at least make moves around the map with him. But as we do see a lot of teams do versus Spirit Breaker, is they put River Wards. Very important to do that versus that hero, so you can always see the charges coming in. They do have one set up bottom.
We'll see how the mid lane starts to turn towards now, as Somnus did have the lead in CS, but now Arbed has that second Meepo out.
Yep. And now Dubu does make the move. So I thought they were going to do this from the beginning, putting that 1v1 kind of matchup for the Lycan versus the Magnus, and then doing a pressure lane versus the CK. So that's what they're starting to do now. And Mason's going to get full experience, and Nighttime's going to hit early, and they're going to benefit from Hal at the same time as the Night Stalker has his Hunter in the Night active. So we'll see who's able to make the first move off of that. Charge coming out onto Ame, but cancelled up by Bulba.
Yeah, just teasing him away from the creep wave, trying to slow down Ame's farm.
But it seems like DC's fine with just giving 11 a very good lane and good start in this game. Already has Soul Ring picked up, so able to kind of be able to spam. Mason a little bit, but Mason with Feral Impulse doesn't really care too much about Shockwave spam.
Of course, DC are going to have this opportunity as well. Once Arbed's a certain point, he can look towards the jungle. They can give up this mid lane. Try and get level 6 quick on this.
Abed's not doing so hot right now. 23 and 4 to the 14 and 1.
Yeah, Somnus has been keeping really control of this lane. Just slightly ahead of our bottom lane. Bit of a go here. They will go forward onto Dubu. Does get the heal off. Self-grave. The Shackle there to hold him in position.
No way to stop it.
Trying to find Victoria. Will get him. Dubu will go down in response. Just the 1-for-1. See if Forev and Boba can do anything more. But there's a lot of mana in the tank for Forev. And indeed, he jumps forward. Looking for Yao. They've got the charge forward as well. And DC, they'll clean out the 2 on this bottom lane. Arme now, back with the presence of Victoria. Tries to bring Forev in. But not quite enough control there from the CK.
Having that level 2 Howl there, giving all that extra damage for them to get the kill first. Very important. Something you always have to worry about when you're playing versus that Lycan. It's now going to be nighttime too, so you have to make sure that you remember about the double aspect of the Howl. Even though you do have darkness, you have the Hunter in the Night from the Night Stalker, fighting into Howls at this time is pretty difficult if you want to go for like a try-v-try action. And DC has a very strong tri-lane if they keep it down there. But now we do see the movements coming out. Bobo wants to pressure the other lanes. Dubu staying behind Forev, just being a little bit careful. But Forev's not really too in risk of dying unless the Night Stalker rotates in.
Yeah, levels on Victoria, 2.5 at the moment. And under this cover of first night, we'll see if they can achieve something. They once again are set up down on the bottom lane, looking for Arme to lead in. Won't quite get the rift there as Forev heads into the tree line. Even if they do, it's relatively hard with Dubu's presence there behind him, as you mentioned.
And maybe 35 and 8 CS now on the Mirana to the 23-1 of Meepo. Abed had to already resort to start hitting some jungle creeps to make sure he can keep up, but already falling behind in levels as well.
Boba down here. See if he can do anything. I think LGD, yeah, they should be aware. They did have the ward out.
Abed could be in some trouble here. They do see the rotation coming out, but you know, still going to watch himself. Still a walking courier on DC.
And this top lane, this 1v1, as it has been for the most part. Mason certainly taking the edge, to be fair. 35 against the 20 of 11. So, yeah, definitely the Howl coming to work here. And as you mentioned, having that passive regen, allowing Mason to be that little bit more aggressive in this lane and have the potential of bullying the Magnus out. He's playing it very, very well at the moment on this line.
Yep. The Mag is, I think 11's still very happy. It's like sure he's not getting the last hits, but the levels are the big importance, at least for the Mag early on. Mag Blink daggers, of course, are super important, but the fact that you're an off-lane Mag going to be hitting level 6 at the 6-minute mark is pretty damn good.
Look at this down front. I'm trying to go aggressive. Instant hex there onto Boba to hold him back. Arme trying to go back in return. They do get the shackles off.
Rotation.
Focus. Yao's gone. They've lost the 1-for-1. Can LGD find anything more with this? Indeed, they brought Somnus in from the mid lane. Looking to chase down Bulba. He'll go for the charge. They're trying for the arrow. Oh, nice cancel of the charge there to dodge the arrow. But Bulba still could be in trouble here. We'll see how heavy Somnus wants to come searching for him. And it looks like they're just going to leave it be. So Bulba will be fine for now.
This is where Meepo catches up. As we were talking about, the mid lane, you can trade some farming, but Miranda was getting a couple extra harassment hits, and so he pulled ahead, but then Abed just goes to jungle. That's what Meepo does. And now he's perfectly caught up, just about the same net worth and levels. And he should accelerate much faster than the Miranda now at this point.
Bottom lane, Arme gets the catch. The three of them do manage to find Forev out alone. Didn't quite have Tubu around with him as Tubu's headed up towards the top lane on the Dazzle.
Victoria was able to close the gap and get the crippling fear on there, so that nighttime silence. If Forev doesn't have backup, that's where he's really susceptible to dying, when they have the tri-lane down there. Because only in dual lane, he should be fine if he's full health, but with Victoria, it makes it harder.
I mean, Victoria's here, but Bulba's got eyes on him. Charges forward, there's the first net. Forev jumping into position. They managed to trap the Night Stalker. They'll take him down immediately. Nothing that Somnus can do in response with DC's 4-man there in the neighborhood.
Yeah, Tread's double Wraith Band now finished up for the Meepo. He's super tanky. On top of Hal, over 1200 HP on Agi Treads.
Oh, and rather interesting as well. So the build from I bet this game looked to be the 2 Wraith Bands into the Diffusal. So obviously great amounts of damage and a great amount of chase.
Massive amount of agility, great chase, and it can also purge off the Empower from people. So they don't have to deal with the cleave. That'll be really useful.
Bottom, another go here onto Dubu with the silence there. No chance for Dubu to respond. LGD, they're finding quite a bit from this bottom lane now. DC letting this safe lane Chaos Knight Arme get involved in the kills. 2-0-2 at the moment on the bottom. And the CS looking good for him as well. Still there, Mason definitely having the best time on the map at the moment. He's getting the solo lane, solo XP. Very, very few CS being missed by this Lycan.
And that's on his, it's Mason on his most...
Oh, and here we go now. DC looking to try and switch things around on this bottom lane. They come in with the Meepo, get Arme. They've got the route onto Yao as well. They should be able to clean up both of these. Abed already making these early rotations, making sure that the lanes go the way of DC.
Yeah, beautiful rotation by Abed. Doesn't need to always be jungling. That's the nice thing about a Meepo is you're off the map a lot of times, so when you make those rotations, it's unexpected. And it was actually rare this time around. LGD had no real wards on the map for quite a long time. They go for the RP play on Mason top, but they actually ends up canceling it. Mason's able to just shapeshift away. But yeah, there was about 4-minute downtime where LGD had little to no vision whatsoever on the map. Now we see the Night Stalker went around and placed the aggressive ward to watch the enemy jungle and a lane ward bottom so they can know the movements.
Somnus.
It's hunting.
The arrow.
So that rotation, though, from Abed, it did cost him their mid lane tower. So maybe definitely recognizing what he wants to do. Every time the Meepo goes to the jungle, goes to a rotation, pressure it, and that gives you always the windows to be able to go and invade the jungle.
Bottom lane, Bulba. Looking for some bashes here. Get one of them. Get anything more out of it? Doesn't look like he can. We'll let Victoria go. But this is true. You say about getting the space in the mid lane. They're also now getting the space on the top lane. LGD taking towers. Same time DC are down on the bottom. They're looking for the tier 1 trade. And at the moment, it looks like they should get it. Indeed, they'll take that tower down.
Mason misses the last hit, though. See if Ame is able to get the top last hit comparison. No! Oh, 11 snatches. That's going to get him closer to Blink Dagger. And like we mentioned, that is the big team fight for LGD.
Yeah, absolutely. If LGD have this Magnus ready to strike at this stage, it's going to be hard for DC to react.
Victoria charged up, only level 3. Should be able to get punished here very easily with the rotation. Howl used as well.
Bash will do it. I don't even need the bash by looks of it. Forev aims the kill. Towards top, Tubu. Quick to make sure that Somnus doesn't grab himself the regen rune. Able to walk it out as well. And still, Abed, this is what we sort of talked about in the draft. The fact that this Meepo, whatever goes on in the game, he's going to find his farm. 10 minutes in, well on the way to the Diffusal Blade. Only a few hundred gold away from having it. I mean, a 10, 11-minute Diffusal Blade on a Meepo, it's going to be so disruptive. If he gets involved in the fights and he can rely on Dubu, the howl from Mason to keep him alive,
it's crazy.
It's going to be so hard for LGD to just deal with this incredibly stacked early game Meepo.
Yeah. Still, the team fight is favorable to LGD when the Magnus, because he's going to have a super fast blink, 200 gold away from that one. And as we're looking at maybe, as we see what item he queues up, he has actually a Yule Scepter queued up on the Mirana. So more setup for himself, also some type of save, so he doesn't have to deal with getting chain netted and chain bashed up. Can actually have some type of save potential from that.
Yeah, but certainly not in terms of offering the highest damage and fighting potential. You know, we see obviously the Mirana mainly go for that sort of physical build, getting their diffusals or the Maelstrom and such. So it's certainly going to be putting the damage output on a bit of a hold from him. I guess they can definitely look towards Arme from packing the real punch in this fight. He's nearly got the armlet done, and obviously with the Empower as well. Still a lot that can come out from LGD if they get the catch.
No, that's like the cool thing is like they had trades going off, so DC made the trade going off where they wanted 4F to build the pressure to CK and get some farm while they allow 11 to, of course, get that farm top. But the issue with that is now he's going to have high levels of Empower and an early Blink Dagger for their team fight. So not only do they have great team fight, but when the lull is happening, when there's not really fights happening, that CK can just accelerate his growth with that power much quicker. Because like Shaw and like Day9 mentioned on the panel, you know, CK can suffer in ways of farming.
I'm interested to see who makes the first move, whether it be a DC looking to utilize Arbed's Diffusal Blade, or Eleven's going to make a go with this Blink Dagger ASAP. DC could try to force pressure, like not the next nighttime, but the one afterwards, and maybe go for a sneak Roche. The Lycan and the Meepo with the Vlads on Lycan can actually get it brought down incredibly fast. We actually just see, I think Abed just pinged out that Roche area, and we see LGD's actually already shooting arrows in there, kind of expecting something to happen. So very deep aggressive wards from LGD, able to watch when 4F was farming and anything that's going on in DC's jungle. But for the time being, very quiet. Dubu very far stepped up now though. Looks like he's going to be able to get brought down here from the rotations. Getting the wrap around, and indeed no chance for the Dazzle here with 3 of LGD closing in. Somnus to pick up the kill will give him enough gold to finish off that Yule Scepter. And they certainly may look for more. Having that Blink Dagger ready in the waiting on 11.
So rule of thumb for us with the Meepo, usually about 1 level per minute, and Abed's keeping up actually ahead of that, so almost level 14 now at the 12-minute mark. Once he gets that Blink Dagger, they can start to put a lot of aggressive moves, because he's kind of like their team fighter in a way, as the Meepo, since he's so accelerated. Yeah,
this is definitely the scary thing for LGD. You know that if you ask Abed now how happy he is with his early 12 minutes of this game, he's going to say this is perfect.
Yeah.
Sure, he suffered a little bit in the CS very early on, but that's not showing at all now. A clear 1,000, almost ahead of Somnus on the overall net worth, top of the board at the moment in this game. This Meepo is going to be terrifying if LGD cannot take him out of the fight to begin with.
They keep checking that Roche. They're very afraid of it. Keep throwing arrows constantly every time DC's off the map.
They should maybe find Yao, and indeed straight away there's the jump. We'll turn with a Hex onto Forev, but Yao not to survive this. Bulba gets the bash. DC keeping control in terms of kills. Still, overall net worth very even across the map because of the fact that 11 has been doing so well on this off-lane Magnus.
Yeah, similar kind of pickups there, right? Yao dies, but Yao at least placed his Mass Serpent wards and took out the tower. And then while he was backing up, he got picked off, and Dubu, of course, died bottom earlier. So those 5 supports getting picked off a little bit, as expected, when the map just becomes, you know, this kind of farm war.
And definitely, you know, when it does become this farm war, the biggest discrepancy is always going to be the difference, isn't it, between 11 and Forev?
Yes.
Because without fights, this Queen of Pain, you know, Forev's going to suffer in this sort of passive moment. There's not a lot that he can really do. Whilst the rest of his team farms up, he needs to try and get involved in some sort of action. They do not have the blink on Abed as well as the diffusal, so DC, I mean, I'm sure if they see an opportunity, DC will take the fight. At the moment, it's just avoiding each other, going for the tier 2 trades. Looks like both teams on track to get this. Either having the chance to respond, I mean, maybe LGD can come back to hold this, but no, it looks like they're just going to accept that this one's gone in return. And just the trading of towers and farm continues in this game. We've started to certainly hit a bit of a slow fall.
I mean, it's very even. 1,000 gold lead for LGD, 1,000 experience lead for DC, so it's pretty much exactly even at this point. Just, of course, the level discrepancy from the Meepo, but that's going to happen. But then you look at the next big three. LGD is very high level on their 3 cores, 13, 12, and 10 on the Mirana, Mag, and CK respectively. And they actually make their own way into the pit with the CK Reality of Rift minus armor plus the Mass Serpent Wards. They have more than enough to bring this down quickly. And
DC are heading over slightly, but indeed with the speed that this is going, can they actually contest it? Bulba has the control onto the Night Stalker to the side of it, but LGD, they're going to easily be able to finish this off, grab the Aegis. Now they jump forward, bring in Bulba, take down the Breaker as well as securing that Aegis into the hands of Arme.
That's a big problem. They've got the Blink Mag already too. They can start the pressure. I don't even know if they want to though. Don't think they actually feel like they need to go for a straight tower push. They can just force their lanes out and wait for DC to kind of come to them when they have this. They can probably wait a couple minutes till everybody's more healthy, and then they can reset, and when the lanes are better, they can actually make a full frontal siege with that Aegis.
And we see on Arbet as well, really valuing just the value at the stats on the diffusal. I don't think he even used a single charge, but straight away upgraded to that level 2 to get that very efficient boosted amount of Vagi for the price that you're paying.
Pretty surprising to see him upgrade it that early though. Because now if he does use all the charges, he has to buy a whole new one in order to refresh that. So, but yeah, definitely just wanting that straight up sheer agility.
There we go again. I mean, Bulba, he was ready to go. The rest of his team not quite in position, ready to follow through behind him. Tension's high there in the booth, as we can see. He's got to keep his cool here. 9-7 though. DC definitely not in a bad position at all. Arbed, as we continue to say, we're still yet to really see the potential of him in a fight, other than that one gank very early on down bottom.
Yeah, we still haven't seen the RPs or anything. Yeah. A lot of the thing is that Mason's gonna have to put in a lot of work with his wolves. Once he gets that level 4 wolf, since he's level 12 and he doesn't have them yet, he went for the second point shapeshifting, a couple other points and everything else. He has to be sure to scout them. That's just the important thing in the fights. Because if they don't know where that mag is, the RP can be devastating if they hit the Meepo.
And worth noting as well, of course, Mason going for the build that we start to see fall a little bit out of favor. Recently a lot of Lycans going back for the Necro Rush, but obviously having the Vlad, it's absolutely perfect when you have this Meepo, something that Arbed's going to benefit off.
And he's playing versus CK with an Empower. So CK will build BKB, and with the Empower, he can just cleave down the Necro units and not care whatsoever. So wanting to have armor, that's what Mason's focus on this time around. Sure. Armor.
Here we go, actually, LGD now with the smoke. But as it is, they've sort of past DC entirely. DC are actually in LGD's own jungle. Let's see if LGD realize this anytime soon. They don't actually, by the looks of it, have any of their own wards in their own jungle. It's DC having full vision of LGD's half of the map there. LGD will simply reveal themselves, start to push down mid. The question is if Digital Chaos themselves can now get in a bit of a wraparound and catch LGD from behind. They're starting to move over, but it will be scanned out by LGD. LGD aware of this movement from Digital Chaos. Now they turn back towards them. Arrow straight away onto the Dazzle. Dubu does get the Grave off. We'll see what the rest of DC want to do. It looks like they will just accept the loss of the Dazzle and back away, not wanting to take this fight. Arbek gets a bit of pressure down on the bottom lane, does force LGD back. Instantly poofs back to join the rest of his team. It's just a Dazzle down. In fact, still in the neighborhood, we may see more action happen. 11, he's going to get charged towards Yao as well by Bulba, who goes for a quick charge by. Looks to walk it up, but yeah, 11, he's going to be ready to punish this one. Jumps forward, skewers back the Space Cow. And Bulba there, maybe just creating space, trying to make sure that LGD didn't therefore jump in on any of the bigger members of Digital Chaos.
They've got view of Mason too with the Yule Scepter, more catch.
That's going to pay off massively if they get the kill, and indeed with the stun connection, there's no escape there for Mason. That Yule's pick up indeed from Somnus, maybe being the perfect item there for the catch.
Starting to get pretty concerned for DC. They have this super far Meepo, so we can still give them that, of course, but the other two cores are starting to fall heavily far behind. Forev hasn't been given the chance to actually use Sonic Wave, so Queen of Pain can flash farm, of course, with her abilities, but ideally you want to be fighting as an offlane Queen of Pain. That's where you get your gold, that's where you get your momentum swing. So it's Meepo and then 3 big cores of LGD, and like we said, LGD has the team fight.
Yeah, and they're ready to go high ground. We'll see what DC can do to stop this. The Serpent Wards are out. 5 seconds and Mason's back in. How do you enter into this fight as Digital Chaos? They have to be so careful with 11 keeping himself in the back lines, ready to blink in with an RP for the counter initiate.
Man, DC does not really have good deep push. The only thing they really
How
have
do they
is
stop this?
Queen of
Miname's
Pain
just going to
spells.
bring them in, ready to fight. Dubu has to grave himself 11. Shadow Blade up on the side. They do have vision upon him. Bulba charges in, gets the done down for him. With the
They've got 11.
Oh,
the RP!
Comes out! The Starstorm as well! LGD absolutely destroying Digital Chaos.
There's no buyback either. Abed actually bought the Ego Song.
I mean, if they realize this, they could maybe even go for a finish in a whole minute without that Meepo.
They're going to heal up.
They're unlikely to know. They're unlikely to know, and they will back off.
Oh my god, they like almost brought him down too. They kind of isolated him. The Spirit Breaker charge comes through, but living
What
with
an
about
RP.
100 HP,
The fact
everyone's
that he
stacked.
got it off. We'll see it here again. I mean, how many he quite catches in it. I mean,
Looks
the
like
start
3
looks
to
all right,
me,
and they know he's there. They're pinging him out. Bulba makes a beeline straight for him. But there's not quite the control. He goes for the ultimate, but immediately that silence there. The silence from Victoria stopping the Nether Strike from Bulba meant that the RP was successful. Brilliant play from the Night Stalker. And off the back of that, of course, as we saw there, cleaning up that mid lane, Rax.
You see the relief instantly as soon as
Absolutely.
he's dying and he's feeling the pressure, then gets the RP off. That's
Incredibly
just a super
close.
opportune moment. And that's the first time now we see the Sonic Wave used. That was the first time we see the RP used, and now look at that gold lead. Look at that experience lead.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Digital Chaos. I mean, it was exactly, as you mentioned, coming into that. Dealing with this sort of pressure this early on, it's not great. You know, Digital Chaos, they want to be the ones making the jump. They want to have the fight starting with Abed immediately bursting down a couple of LGD's members. But when LGD come down your mid lane like that, drop your wards, make themselves at home in your base, it's very hard to get them out.
I love this by Ame as well, picking up a Blink Dagger now too. So if he isn't in the position to follow up for the RPs, now he always will be. So nighttime, now we have smoke for smoke action.
They've got to do something with this.
LGD gets the high ground
RP.
first.
They're on the high ground first indeed. Straight away, Bulba does get the charge off on the side. Ame bringing Duber in, has the ult back online with Abed. Getting bursted down. Somnus looking towards Bulba now. Turns attention back towards the Meepo. They have already lost 2. Abed gets critted down there. Ame doing the work on this Chaos Knight. They've taken down 3. RP just comes off call down 11. Comes in for the cleanup. LGD team wiping Digital Chaos. And we asked ourselves if they had a plan for this Meepo, and I mean, whatever they're doing, it's certainly working this game, LGD.
Look at the damage done in this fight. 6,600 by CK and 6,000 by Mirana. That's insane at this point. With the Mjolnir picked up so early. 11 was forced to buy back for that cleanup RP, but they're going to get another rack side of this. Absolutely worth it.
Straight in on the top lane. With 3 members down, they're going to have Perret back up in a second, but no Mason. No Abed for a while. They will get the skewer back, and indeed straight away with the stun. They'll burst down Perret with the Sonic Wave. Now looking for the turnaround. Does take down Ame. That's the Chaos Knight gone for 50. If they can find these 2 as well, this will be a massive hold. Perret will get a second, but still 11 and Victoria. They're too big and strong. Bulba tries to charge in, but 11, he can turn. He'll look to try and fight back. Yao comes in with a quick zap.
And the Raxes are dead already.
They're gone. And
They
GG
denied it,
is
but
caught.
they actually
DC
saw it.
want to reset this, move on to game 2, because game 1, LGD just playing on another level. Absolutely insane start for the series for LGD.
They didn't really let DC do what they wanted to do with their lineup, is get that Roche, have the Aegis, and take fights around the RP with Amiibo with Aegis, and they just didn't allow that to happen. They were just kind of farming around, always checking to make sure that Roche, and then they all kind of grouped up together. Even though they don't have this like crazy sustain lineup, they have the RP, they know they have that big team fight. And during those like low periods, we saw the CK just gradually building up net worth, while Forev slowly but surely started to decline, and it just becomes really difficult for them to fight. Because in order for them to get damage out and to burst down that Magnus, they all have to kind of clump up.
Yeah. And
You
maybe
get to 3 or
just
4 man RP.
here on the main stage, tension's getting a little too high for DC. We saw camera shots, you know, Bulba wiping his brow. Maybe needing to try and reset themselves, coming to game 2 with a bit of a new outlook, because game 1, LGD, they just kept it so cool. We saw the clutch little plays, the silences from Victoria, little things that came together to secure LGD these team fights again after again, and coming into and beating Abed Meepo. This is going to be a great feeling for LGD. You've seen this team pulling out this pick that you know DC they were going for that Meepo. It's like, well, we got you now. But LGD, 22-minute victory. I mean, how do you recover from this position as Digital Chaos?
This Magnus seems super devastating, I'll be honest. Just in the group stages, they loved picking it as well. This time, 11 had such a good start. Gets a Blink Dagger super early, and then DC just feels pressured. They don't want to take any fights. So we'll see how they can bounce back from it.
Absolutely. What a start to this series here for LGD, but we'll pass it back to the analysts to hear what they've got to say about this very quick result.
Thank you, OD and Fogg, and I got to echo what Fogg said. Magnus was sick in that game. Those were insane reverse polarities. Meepo got shut down. I mean, do you feel like Meepo was not performing up to par throughout the course of the game? I normally expect Meepos to have much higher net worth.
I think he was playing good. It was more that it wasn't a good lineup to play it against. They already had the Magnus, who is one of the best heroes against Meepo. And they also didn't get the first Roche. And getting in the first Roche when you're playing Meepo is like everything. You want to get that Aegis, you want to get your level like 17 or something, and then take a fight with that. But
also the cores around him really weren't great to build with Meepo. We had Queen of Pain and Lycan, who don't really offer any control for Meepo to connect with damage. They just do damage themselves, and Merlini and I were talking about how maybe Queen of Pain isn't the best hero to throw in the offlane, unless there's like some Drow Ranger aura to help him out and help him farm, but he was very, very much under farm, maybe like 5th or 6th on network throughout the entire game, and that's not where you want to play a Queen of Pain.
It just feels like that the Queen of Pain was, they tried to trick them, that it was mid, and that's why it just ended up on the offlane. And
do you think maybe that was like their strategy all along?
I think so.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, because we were all like thinking that the Queen of Pain was going to be mid, and then they picked up bottom and everything. But
I think they were like already committed though. At that point, when you see everything looks pretty good up until the Magnus, and then Magnus last pick, you don't have that much reserve time. You went into the whole entire draft thinking you're going to sneak into last pick Meepo, and then you're committed at that point.
Are we still going to do it? Or but
yeah,
they just went for it, but it didn't really pay off.
I mean, they may have been under the gun during the drafting phase, but now that we've actually had some time to look at the game, see what was going on. I mean, Merlin, do you think there was a different mid that Abed could have gone for instead of Meepo? I mean,
he could have just played Quab and then gone for the Timbersaw. Like you said, I think Timbersaw would have eaten up a lot of space, but anything with more disable, more control, more AoE, more team fight, like the Magnus that they had on the opposite side.
Really nice coordination by LGD throughout the game. I mean, Chaos Knight never even got to the point where he was equipped with a heart, just nice mid-game items, going for the armlet, going for the Echo Saber, and just output a huge amount of damage in every fight.
They had a really nice balance all the way across the board. They had Ross that helped them push the towers. They had lots of AoE damage with Magnus and Mirana. They had a vision advantage using the Night Stalker. And the illusions from CK, there just really wasn't any AoE from DC to speak of to deal with it, other than the Meepo poofs. And as soon as Meepo went in, Magnus had CK's back.
It's also a problem when they actually leave so much space for the Magnus. When they go aggro try, the Magnus was top 3 on the net worth chart, I think, and that's not really how you want to be playing. Like it's not a hero that you want to be playing against when you're Meepo, like farm Magnus. That's not how you play the game.
Purge, I wonder if you can give us some of your thoughts on the match between LGD and DC. It was a very quick match, and DC even got off to a seemingly good start with Bulba getting some key kills.
Yeah, it was a really fun game to watch. There's actually at least 5 or 6 things I wanted to look at, so I'm a little pressed for everything I want to talk about, but I really loved how LGD ran the Mirana in the mid lane. It's very effective against Meepo. He didn't have to worry about taking any regen because he's a ranged hero, and so he just bought really fast phase boots as well as Aquila, giving him a lot of damage. And he could very easily TP to the safe lane to help offset the Quap offlane and things like that. Even though he only got 1 kill here, very effective. I love the Yule's pickup he got as well. Not only was he able to use this to set up easy kills with Yule's into Arrow, but if he ever got caught by Meepo net that could be chained one after another, he could Yule's himself first and then leap afterwards. So it was like a cool way to rely on himself to actually get kills if needed. But this fight was probably one of my more favorite ones. I think DC actually played this amazing. Bulba had a great charge despite being the first in. He went in this way and he ended up catching Old 11 on the Magnus. That's the guy they had to worry about, because if they get too grouped, then it's going to result in all their heroes getting clumped, and then the Chaos Knight's going to be able to cleave them down. But the way that Chaos Knight actually played this fight was pretty incredible. He went for all these early game items, and as soon as he saw Bulba here about to charge in, what he did was blink all the way to the north area. That way he pretty much for sure avoids all the stuns. That allows him to hit the back line. Mason actually got distracted, focusing on him rather than running in with Abed at the same time to focus those squishy cores, and as a result, Mason wasted almost all of his time in this fight while Abed killed 2 heroes, and then at the end, we see the Chaos Knight come in and easily get a crit and ultimately kill the Meepo. But very tough game for DC with the Meepo versus Magnus, but man, they really played well considering.
Magnus also matches up pretty well versus Lycan throughout the entire game, just having some incredibly strong lockdown, whether or not Mason had a BKB, and then also being able to cleave down any summons that Lycan throws up.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I have not gotten the chance to see a lot of Magnus in this entire tournament, and gosh, It's a game like that that makes you a fan of a player immediately.
I think they just need to make sure that the Magnus doesn't get farmed, because it's not a hero that you really want to go jungle with. So if you bull him out of the lane, then you can probably deal with him.
Now, as these players are getting back into their booths, one of the big things this TI was the short film contest. And of course, some of those finalists were going to get the chance to be shown here today at TI. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Attack! Not enough mana.
Nightmares, 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 nightmares.
Carl, here's your final test. And now for a very simple chain of invocations. Nothing too complex. Leave me alone. Have you ever wondered what kind of nightmares he can give you? No. I hate magic so much.
Beautiful. I'm the juggernaut.
And that's why you don't play ability draft. Do you guys play ability draft?
Yes, I love it. I tried it twice, I think. It's just so weird to see all of these heroes with like Crystal Maiden running with Alchemist Ultimate, and I don't know.
Just some broken combos.
You know, I remember when I was just first getting into Dota, one of my friends was like, oh yeah, no, feel free to watch me play. And it was an ability draft, and I didn't know. Nothing made sense in the slightest.
That's probably not a good way to start off playing Dota.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough one. But I made it through. And our next match is getting set up as well. I just want to once again give a shout out to all the TI7 short film finalists, because that's pretty amazing.
Those were both really, really good.
Those are amazingly well done. And we'll be showing more of these throughout the day, because there were so many insane submissions. There's even a ton. You can look up on YouTube TI7 short film contests and feel free to browse through them yourself. Just amazing, amazing work. So nice job, community. Now, in terms of these two teams, we've seen DC start off strong, but that was one of the shortest games that we've had at the main event. It was just over 20 minutes long.
I think their pocket Meepo last pick strat really didn't work out. I'd like to see them kind of go back to a little bit more standard DC style and stop trying to get free wins from teams that are potentially better than them.
I mean, really, I don't know if this is a dumb question to ask, but do you think that GG was a little too early?
Absolutely not.
Maybe late.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, they had no way to like win team fights. They took that last desperation fight on the enemy shrine, and they thought, we'll do something crazy here. Maybe it'll work out. But
the YOLO smoke, last ditch.
Well, the players have let me know that the match is ready to begin. DC, with the cheeky last pick, Meepo, failed miserably in the last game with one of the shortest matches. Will they adjust their draft, or will LGD be yet another Chinese team advancing forward at this international? Let's find out.
LGD versus Digital Chaos. Game 2.
Traditional bands for this tournament coming out from DC, Nyx Assassin and Bat Rider, and similarly on LGD, Puck and Naga. These are I believe these are the 4 most banned, or 4 of the 5 most banned at this entire tournament.
Is it time for Bull Basanking instead?
I don't know. I'm disappointed he may have given up on the Spirit Breaker after last game. I thought he was crushing it. One thing I would like to see DC do a little bit differently this time is maybe wait on their cores a little bit. I know that we talked about them not really playing too many different cores, but I think second picking Queen of Pain and third picking Lycan might be a little too direct of an approach.
Feels like that LGD was just very confident with Magnus, that they just feels that they can pick it in the first 2 here.
Yep, so here we go, Magnus Kunkka, a massive amount of team fight being shown by LGD very early.
Don't have to worry about the Meepo again.
Definitely not.
So LGD had a very well-balanced draft. That's what I think Digital Chaos were lacking. They were trying to do this gimmicky thing. Okay, let's pick Queen of Pain in the first phase and try and swap it up.
And there's Sven for Mason. Once again, picking cores really, really early. I think that this is one of the 3 heroes that he's had a lot of success on. I think this hero matches up just fine against Magnus and Kunkka throughout the game.
They're gonna have to ban Troll on DC right now. They even have Magnus already on LEG, so.
That's true. When you could see that Troll Warlord rush into the fights with the BKB on and just chop at Sven, constantly bashing him.
We've seen Sven have an extraordinarily successful series of games at this event. Not just in group stages, but of course Resolution had an amazing, amazing series of games for Team Empire. But of course Sven was 4th picked in those games. Second pick always creates more opportunities for the team to counter.
What are you guys thinking DC's approach will be to this early Magnus pick? Do you feel like they'll try and combat it with...
I really hope that they try to shut him out of the lane in the beginning and make sure that his stagger is delayed and that he's only going to be this Blink RP hero and not more of a damage dealer that he can become later on into the game.
Yeah, that's what we saw last game. I was potentially worried about that Magnus just carrying by himself.
Yeah. What are the types of things that happen for Magnus if he is able to get farm and if he's not?
Well, if he levels up in power pretty early and he gets a couple of items that'll help him farm faster. Sometimes we even see Magnus's like skip Blink and go Echo Saber, and they become this like hard carry with treads. We didn't see that last game, but once he levels up in power, he can start farming the jungle incredibly fast, and he can be 5 or 6 slotted pretty early into a game and have a huge physical damage capabilities.
You can kind of view him similarly to Enigma, I would say, although a little bit different because Enigma you can synergize with many heroes, whereas Magnus is mostly melee heroes, but they both farm a lot, and then once it gets to the super late game, like there's the thing about Magnus is there's no item that you can build that's great versus him. BKB doesn't really matter, RP still pierces it, and anything else you just get cleaved down. Even armor is not particularly useful like Warcry, because if you get RP with one of your teammates, you can still get cleaved if he's not the main target. So it's just very difficult to itemize versus him if he gets a lot of farm, and he gets Shadow Blade, which make countering the initiation much more difficult.
Very similar to Enigma, actually. I like that comparison. A little bit different. He has got the instant disable, and it also groups everybody up instead of just kind of wishing them around in the black hole.
We have seen some Oracle pairings with Sven, and we have seen some Oracle versus the Kunkka. It might be an option that they want to turn to try and deal with the RP. A lot of the times, I think teams try to pick Puck too and try and disrupt the Magnus, just find him in the back of the fight, coil him, Shadow Strike him with Queen of Pain just so he can't get that good initiation off, but that's rather unreliable.
I really like the Oracle pick for DC if they choose to go for it.
Something to bail Sven out of trouble if he ever does get locked down before he gets his BKB off. Do you think that LGD will pick up any more control through Magic Community with this early Sven pick? Sven inevitably is going to build a BKB, and we've seen Sven's...
I mean, they did ban the 2 best heroes against Sven, both Void and Troll.
And
nice.
normally Victoria plays the Tusk and the Kunkka, or else I would suggest that they could pick Tusk to try and deal with the BKB Sven. But
Death Prophet. These teams are not afraid to pick up their cores.
This is a combo that we've seen a lot of the games. Actually, we saw Empire pick it twice in their games yesterday against EG, this Sven and Ancient Apparition combo.
Or
LGD
combination now.
Yeah. No, Sven and AA. Oh.
A is a soft counter to Death Prophet.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, because Ancient Apparition's ultimate prevents healing, and we've been seeing Death Prophet do really amazing things, having just enough life to stay alive in those key team fights.
That's the hardest thing about Death Prophet, is managing your soul siphons and making sure you land a couple in fights, and then being aware of how much damage or how far you can go into a fight without actually being bursted down.
both of the LGDs love this combo though. The Kunkka Death Prophet, like, yeah, AA won't let you heal, but you're actually not going to die too, because Kunkka Boat with Death Prophet is like, you're going to get a ton of damage from your X.
Especially if you get pop. You get Oracle ulted, you start soul siphoning people, you're getting double the healing.
And actually, Oracle is quite good against AA as well, because if you actually get the heal after your ultimate, like if AA ultis you and Oracle ultis you afterwards, and the AA ultimate wears off before Oracle's ulti wears off, then you actually get the HP that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it kind of goes both ways.
Another great thing about Ancient Apparition, we've seen him throughout this tournament be a nice finisher for ganks that have been happening in the early game. He's been a really, really fun hero to watch.
He also provides the team a little bit of vision, being able to launch ultimates all over the map. You can sometimes find little snippets of information about your team, your enemy team's location. Also, the Ice Vortex is a pretty long range, and you can scout inside the Roche pit or maybe up a hill without actually putting any of your heroes at risk.
Lina, first hero ever played in Dota, so of course, special place in my heart for Abed.
And an affinity for it. Great burst hero. Dealing with Death Prophet is, one of the ways to kill her is to burst her. She likes to play aggressively. She likes to play on the, on the edge. But a Laguna Blade coming in at the right time could kill her while she's, being a little too overconfident.
And Lina really works well with the Sven as well to follow up his stun to make sure that they can't get out.
Lots of instant disables with Sven and Sand King for Lina to follow up on.
At least from just seeing like these 4 picks from each team, I like the way that DC is going to handle the Magnus, because Sven and AA is one of the strongest heroes in the safe lane early on. The Sven stun is actually 2 seconds long, so if AA uses his cold feet and Sven stuns afterwards, the Magnus is going to have to skewer away, and the CD is quite long on that, so they're going to be able to keep him away from experience and gold.
What's the last pick you want to look for here as DC?
LGD.
Well, we're about to find out.
Prophet.
Oh, interesting.
Furion, I think Furion is pretty good here. I think having some treants running throughout the map, scouting for vision is going to be pretty important. I think LGD definitely has a team fight advantage with the 4 heroes they have here. So being able to see what's actually happening and potentially finding this Magnus before the fights take off is going to allow DC to position themselves to win team fights.
Kunkka's quite good against Prophet, though. That is the main problem I see with him.
Yeah.
He's like one of the best ones to be able to stop him.
I look at Magnus and Kunkka as being the 2 initiators for LGD, and I think it's really difficult for them to start fights in that way, especially once DC picks up some BK, like a BKB on Sven or a BKB on Prophet. I think that when LGD goes to initiate, DC is going to jump them, and unless Oracle and Magnus are ready to counter-initiate, don't know how well that fight goes for them.
In that way, the trees helps out really well to be able to scout them out.
Exactly.
The game is a lot about vision, so...
Yeah, and when 2 teams have a ton of team fight, it's more so about how you take the fight rather than who's actually stronger. And the last pick, Anti-Mage.
That is a different turn of strategy from what I expected with the DP and Magnus, but...
Everybody likes Sven up against Anti-Mage. A ton of physical damage coming out from Sven with his ultimate is, you can actually burst down Anti-Mage pretty easily. So Yao's going to be really on top of his game and very selective with the Oracle ultimates he throws out.
I think Mag AM is a different story though. That's Mag AM versus Sven. I think AM has the advantage.
It's going to be a very interesting game with the last pick, Anti-Mage, as Anti-Mage can sometimes turn to the final boss of the game with his ability to accumulate so much farm. It's time to head into game number 2, where DC is 1 game away from elimination and LGD is 1 game away from top 8.
Thank you very much, Day 9. And indeed, here we go, game 2. We're seeing something a little different from both sides, mainly from DC, coming in with something a bit different, as the panel said, getting Mason back on sort of his Sven, having this AA follow-up. But this lineup, I'll tell you what, from LGD, they've got anti-mage Magnus. I mean, this is just, it's insane, you know what I mean?
We've got two very...
It's never going to stop. They've got Death Prophet, Oracle, they have, again, you know, Magnus performance, game 1, 11 blew us away. It's not going to be a walk in the park at all for DC. This is going to be tough.
This is definitely going to be a hard one. Both teams, though, having pretty comfortable lineups that they're used to playing with. LGD has some of their absolute signature heroes, like we were talking about, the Kunkka, the Mag, the Death Prophet. These are the big 3 that they've been playing a lot. And then we throw back to DC. Same kind of similar scenario with Boba and the Sand King for playing that Nature's Prophet. This anti-mage pick, though, the last pick anti-mage is massive in this game, because now it's really the Sven versus the world. Can Sven be able to match up versus this? It's a lot up to the early game, because they're very magic damage oriented besides that Sven. And anti-mage, incredibly good versus Nature's Prophet and Lina. These two high mana pool heroes that can be very susceptible to that mana void. And like Merlini talked about, when it's anti-mage versus a Sven wins out. But when it's anti-mage plus a Magnus, that's a completely different story because of how fast you enable him. And then you can actually kind of take fights away from the anti-mage for a bit because of the other 4 heroes that they have, the Kunkka, the Mag, the Death Prophet. These guys can force aggression. They can force objectives.
Yeah, a lot of eyes towards Mason to see how hard he can carry this game.
A lot of execution things coming into play, though. Like Ake mentioned, with the Oracle ultimate being able to be used with versus AA, you have to time it pretty well to get that heal burst while the AA blast is wearing off. And then Death Prophet, its Sven can be sometimes a little bit complicated too, because the Warcry is very good versus the Exorcism. So it's all about like how these fights actually start and who gets blown up and how well they're able to actually use the Oracle for the Fortune's End or for the False Promise.
Interesting to see how this mid lane goes to begin with. Both Dubu and Victoria looking to back up their respective partners in this mid lane. See if they hang around.
Let's see how either of these the safe lanes pair off. Is 11 going to be able to get away with it again and get a ton of experience? Is he going to be able to get all those blasts like he has been? We'll find out. 4F should be able to get a good amount more here with the help of Boba at the start. They're going to have those pesky treants plus a Sand King in the vicinity, while Victoria just tries to annoy Abed, as we kind of expect him to do. He's been playing around the mid lane a lot in the first minute or so in majority of their games.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to keep him on toes whenever he wants to come in with the torrent spam and such. And that Abed. And maybe in this mid lane it should be a bit of an even trade in terms of farm. Of course, both having...
Just got to watch the torrents.
There is the connection. Siphon coming in. Not enough to get the kill, but a lot of harassment. And yes, exactly as you said. You know, if Victoria hits these random torrents, there's definitely potential to bully Abed out of this lane when he is alone.
Especially when Victoria hits level 2. If they hit the far torrent and then he walks up and is able to close the gap and get an X mark off, X mark plus a Spirit Siphon, Abed will drop pretty easily if he's a little bit lower than full health. If he's full health, I think he can still survive for the first few levels.
Up top 11, being forced to certainly be a little bit more careful than he was game 1.
Doing damn well, though.
He is still finding quite a bit of it, and he's got this nice wave coming down towards him. We'll see if Dubu can maintain control of this top lane with the side pulls and such as he begins to make them.
Pretty impressive, because he actually got the block in the initial part of the game. He actually skewers back Mason to the tower to put some damage on him, just to be annoying. In the initial part of the lane, he got the range creep in front. Although Mason did also get denied a little bit afterwards, he was able to get that lane pressure coming out toward him. So level 3 already on that offlane mag, where you could expect him to pretty much be fully shut down from the AA Sven combo, as Ake was mentioning. It's a very hard lane to actually go up against with that hard stun plus the cooled feet.
Lane still both Abed and maybe standing toe to toe. It's turned into a true 1v1 now with Victoria turning his attention back towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, Am is suffering a bit in the last hits. 6-1. They have to make sure that they can keep him online. It's Death Prophet now. Got a head start. Should be able to keep that head start going. Now it's time to help the anti-mage, because he is the real full win condition versus the lineup of DC.
Yeah, Forever certainly having a good time down here. Nearly has the phase boost complete. LGD really trying their best. They've got a lot of catch, of course, between these two supports. Once there's a few levels, they've got a bit of nuke damage potential as well.
DC already has a massive stack up at their hard camp. It's already 1, 2, 3, 4. 4x stacked up for the Sven once he gets level 6. So that can be something nice to get the AA a faster level 6 online with the Sven cleaving that down, or Sven doing the neutrals while AA just saps the lane, something along those lines. And now Boba trying to maximize. This is a good move. They forced a lot of aggression onto the anti-mage. They probably expected the Kunkka to be making those rotations. They actually do see him as well with that ward they placed on the river. So as soon as he makes the move away, Boba's like, okay, I can at least get a bit more farm since 4F should be just fine down bottom now.
Yeah, and they need to shut this anti-mage down as hard as they can.
Phase Boot's already on 4F. So
yeah, this lane's going to get scarier for this anti-mage.
I'm struggling.
But we know that there's definitely going to be the potential for him to have that real spike in farming potential once he has the Empower buff and at least that Battle Fury Treads or whichever he wishes to finish first, so he can withstand the neutral creeps in the jungle and get that catch-up farm.
Victoria has Dubu a big caught out. They catch the torrent, though doesn't even need it. Maybe just walks up. It's going to be first blood for Maybe.
Very nicely set up there for Maybe.
Victoria was actually hiding in the Roche pit to wait for the rune spawn, and Dubu just didn't really expect that. Didn't even need to connect the torrent.
Look at this down bottom. Arme totally being bullied back here. He's only down to the last shared tango. Does of course have the Oracle that he can rely on a little bit to help heal him up, but level's still not quite there. Yeah, Boba
making a nighttime smoke right now.
They might be able to get the catch onto mid. Depends how far we see Somnus maybe come out.
Got a lot of damage here.
He's playing very safe with his position. Now he's on the edge. It's just a question of DC where to go. They've got a lot of stuns, a lot of control. There will be the TP in as well from Forever, making sure that this is a guaranteed kill, and indeed it is. Successful rotation there from Bulber and Dubu. Nicely done.
They got to make all those work. 4F TP's out though from bottom lane now. Ame gets the lane to catch back up. And during all that, it's 11. You know, we talked about the mag from the last game getting a pretty free lane. It's happening again. They are shutting down the anti-mage, but the mag was one of the big issues in the last one. He is coming off to a great start in this already.
And even these little items, now that Ame has the Poor Man's Shield and the Ring of Hell, that's enough to sort of help withstand any sort of harassment that comes his way. And
yeah.
In fact, as it is for Ev, he's just making the long walk back to the bottom lane, so it's still a lot of time that Ame is getting that lane opened up, top lane, trying to make the connection there on Told 11, but he did get the skew out in time.
Now, I think he actually knows there's a ward there too, because the stun from the distance, he felt like he was out of distance. He even pings it out, so we might see that being de-warded, which will hurt DC's early vision for sure. LGD now with the smoke. They're set up around Abed mid, but Abed seems very aware of this. Look at how far positioned he is on the right side.
We've got a decent amount of catch there with the 2 points in the X mark. They may just go for Bulber instead, as they have him coming up to the high ground. We'll go for the Sandstorm, but of course they've got the Torrent to cancel the channeling. Somnus maybe coming in as well. Siphon's there. Bulber does have the Burrow Strike. Will go to the high ground. Tries for the Quipstorm's connection, but it's not going to quite be there as Bulber will get himself out to safety. This mid lane now opened up a little bit for Somnus with this aggression and rotation from his two supports, Yao and Victoria. As we see the Death Prophet take the lead at the moment for the net worth. Still definitely the biggest discrepancy being that between the two safe laners, Mason. Obviously having the better time in this opening laning stage in comparison to Arme.
Yeah. As long as, let's see how the supports are doing in maximizing. We actually have every single support in the game is level 3. So everyone's kind of suffering with their rotations. Victoria gets the connection onto Mason with the X2.
They brought the Death Prophet around. They do have exorcism ready to go. Somnus says, we're going to fight it, boys. Forever will tilt me across. Bulber with the Burrow Strike to hold back maybe. Mason pops the God Strike, trying to man up with the damage. This Death Prophet's too strong. Takes down one, takes down two. They're not even done yet. Maybe they can look towards Bulber as well. 11 kind of skewers Bulber away though.
Body blocking.
Now allowing the Siphon to reconnect.
The blocks.
They're coming in for more. This Death Prophet having the absolute rotation of a life. 7.5 minutes, Somnus coming in and picking up a triple kill.
And they're going to clean up the 4 stack that we were talking about earlier.
Oh.
The whole thing, all the big creeps goes for LGD.
What a rotation there. Could not have happened at a better time.
Now they've got the Shrine up as well, so full heal back up 11. Level 7 mag with Arcane Boots and the Soul Ring are ready. That's pretty scary. The two big team fighters are absolutely online. That off-lane Magnus, top 2 in net worth.
And whilst this is going on up top, of course, all the more space for Arme to slowly climb his way back in. He's getting the solo XP. And now not doing too bad at all in terms of the smaller early items. We are going to see DC try and make a move immediately out of the base. Smoke from Bulba and Dubu. Abed now with the level 6 ready and waiting. A kill onto Somnus would be pretty big at this stage. The back of him being fattened
They're
up by
ready
that triple
for
kill.
this, though. They have the Oracle.
And in fact, the Torrent's connecting onto Abed. It's going to be LGD going in first, Abed. He's going to try and get his way out of it with the light strike, trying to play it out. Victoria looking to see how he can react, but already there's the wraparound coming through. DC. They will catch and shut down the Death Prophet. Maybe they can get more. Still with this haste room, finds the connection with the light strike, and DC, they'll get a couple out of this one.
Don't know if they actually saw the haste rune in the bottle. It seemed like, with the way that they made that aggressive move. They actually had Yao behind them too. It looked like he hesitated a bit on the Fate's Edict. Would have almost been able to block like the Laguna and maybe the Sanking stun damage. Could have potentially turned that fight, but just a bit out of range and just a little bit unexpecting the DC rotation. And now they're able to get a lot of tower pressure here. Should be able to bring it down as well. So LGD does have to make sure now, when they're playing versus DC, is to play around their ultimate timings. Unless they get an AA right
Victoria
here.
looking for the catch here. Dubu does still have Bulba in the neighborhood. They may not even be able to get him. He's going to continue to back up. Okay, with that Torrent and the Siphon, they'll certainly finish it off. The rest of DC out of there. Somnus comes back into the lane, picks up a free kill. Top lane 11 now, with this maxed out Shockwave, doing a good job at trying to harass Mason back.
I'm curious if he's going to go for the Battle Fury since they have the Mag and Power. I was wondering if he's going to go for Vanguard. He actually now queues up the Lincolns first. So I wanted to deal with those heavy stuns that DC does have. Just that stat bonus as well. It's a nice thing about having a Mag. Don't need to go for that Battle Fury rush. You're going to have that stat advantage.
And yeah, having the Lincoln's certainly going to give him enough regen to hop around the jungle.
They've got a ward behind the tower. They're looking for Forev here. He seems to
nice
know
catch.
something's up, though.
Abed as well, close by in the jungle. And indeed, LGD not to catch anyone there with that movement.
But an Arcane Rune bottom, and they have DP ulti up. This could be where they just try to force the tower with it.
Yeah, straight away. And unlikely to see any sort of reaction from DC as this bottom lane is pushed in. Dubu at the moment up top, trying to find his level 6. He's only touching on level 5 at the moment.
They're trying to make the trade before it just goes top. They have a catapult wave coming in. It's 10-minute mark, so this should be able to put a good amount of pressure. That being said, though, it is a Mag who is level 10, so Max Shockwave is online, plus the talent with that spell amplification to clear out the waves.
And they look like they're going to be able to do a decent job of holding this. I mean, Bulba is there on the side. We'll see if any further TPs come in from LGD. They've got the fortification. The actual, their side, they're staying down bottom. They're looking to put some pressure now onto the tier 2 as well. Now the TPs come through from Digital Chaos. They're coming in from the side as well for the Shrine. Bulba, seeing if he can get some sort of a setup. Comes in with the Burrow Strike. And then in return, I mean, Bulba could get turned upon. He gets silenced. There's Mason looking for stun. Finds it onto Somnus. With the Siphon already out and Bulba, they know that there's too much survivability on this Death Prophet for those two alone to commit.
LGD wants their 2 supports to hit level 6 before they try to make anything too crazy happen. Having that boat online plus the Fortune's End will make their fight, well, make the Death Prophet super hard to bring down and gives them a lot more damage, which right now most of their damage is coming just from that Death Prophet. So quietly, slowly but surely, look at the net worths. They're pretty even on the 3 cores. But 11 is the big one, where it's just like, this is the off-lane Mag. He's already level 11, almost level 12 at the 12-minute mark, and he's going to have Blink Dagger at it seems like an even earlier time than the last game.
This is truly terrifying.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And we know, we saw how well LGD can play around having that RP available, shutting down games within 22 minutes. We'll see if they can get the ball rolling as hard this time round. They definitely have the tools to do so. Having this Death Prophet in their lineup, having the Exorcism back online, Rule Scepter done as well, LGD wanting to make use of this. But it was underneath and around that ward, so we'll see how DC prepare for this one.
There's still no boat online, so it's 12 minutes. Kunkka's only level 4, but Oracle is 6 now for the saves. And with the Yule Scepter picked up, they actually might just find Mason
They might do indeed. Mason caught in the jungle, will turn with the stun, but the X-Mark into the Torrent is going to be on point. Pops the war cry, it's not enough to keep him alive. Mason caught out in the jungle. LGD.
The dream pick-off right there. Abed now going to just try to pressure that bottom tower, at least to do something with the space that was given while Mason's dead. And LGD won't be able to capitalize on pressuring the top tower off of that, since the Wrath of Nature was deployed to push the lanes out for Forev. try to hold that push a bit, but now they're wrapping behind mid. Dubu might be the culprit here.
He's almost certainly going to get spotted out here, Somnus, if he continues to move.
You just saw them. They just showed themselves. Dubu, get out of there.
Victorious, seeing if he can get the X mark, but indeed Dubu gets himself back up to the high ground. Does have that Ice Blast ready to go. Bulba. Level 6 at the moment on the Sand King. Let's put the point into the ult. For the 3-3 at the moment.
DC doesn't have great ways of starting the fight. Well, now LGD has multiple ways. With that Magnus Blink Dagger and with the X that we previously stated, it makes it easier for them to get those catches. Well, DC, there's no Blink Dagger on Sand King, and Mason is also still about 1,000 gold too from that Blink. So no way for them to just get on top of LGD and force initiation. And during all this, they post up 4 heroes mid from LGD, while Ame just slowly but surely accelerates with that power. So the downtime definitely benefits LGD during this.
And they very nearly have the ultimate orb on Ame towards that Lincoln Sphere. As we were saying earlier, once that's there, he's going to feel very confident jumping into these fights. Mason, from the God Strength, trying to speed up his farm. He needs to do something, indeed, as we can still see the 3 individuals of LGD, the highest in net worth at the moment. Mason just scraping behind that Death Prophet.
Look at how the supports are playing on LGD, though. They are literally not moving from maybe side. It's pretty hard for them to bring down the anti-mage at this point because of how tanky it is. They have to pretty much get all the stuns on him.
Oh, they will get the wrap around it straight away with the Ice Blast going on. So maybe he does have the self-heals, but he falls down low and he gets taken out. The Dragon Slave's enough. You see,
perfect.
That is a big pick indeed. Catching out that Death Prophet.
Leads into an objective as well. Most important, having kills for DC here.
Yeah, alleviates the threat of potential pressure from LGD as well, making sure that the Exorcism is off the map for 15 seconds, blink back from Old 11, and indeed DC. They'll get away with taking this tier 2 for now.
So instead of going for Lincoln's, picks up his own Battle Fury. Change his mind.
Change of plan.
Wants his own. He wants to be, since the way that the pace is, like he's just playing completely away from the Magnus. He doesn't want Mag to cross the map and keep having to empower him. So having your own Battle Fury can have its own benefits.
I mean, maybe, as you say, LGD themselves realize, well, we can absolutely just play the farm game. And, of course, having the Battle Fury and Empower is insanely ridiculous. Having almost what's added up to be this 100% cleave or very close to. It's incredibly quick. How fast he can get around the map, clean up these camps. And very, very little chance that Mason can catch up purely by farming neutrals. They've got to find action, they've got to find fights. In fact, bottom lane, they're looking for it. Bulba leads in. Ice Blast will be flying through. False Promise out just in time, but this is going to be a lot of damage out to Somnus.
He is
definitely gone. Too much damage being built up, and he will pop. LGD lose 2. DC doing exactly what they need, getting involved. They'll get the courier as well, as also picking up Victoria.
Getting 3 there.
Absolutely perfect. They know that they can't play the farm game against this empowered Battle Fury anti-mage. They have to look for these fights, get Mason involved, and that's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, Mason picking up that Blink Dagger first instead of going for those other type of farm items is really important for them to keep that pressure going. He knows that Bulba wasn't getting it too early, so he made the judgment call going for it. Bulba getting that nice stun as we see, and with them just completely outnumbering, and you can see LGD is nowhere in the vicinity to help this.
Absolutely not. They get the False Promise out, as we say. No amount of siphoning is going to offset the damage coming through from these cores on DC. Big fight there for Digital Chaos, getting some of this momentum that they struggled to find in game 1.
They need to get those pickoffs. Like that one was perfect too, because RP is up, so it's a risky kind of play, but they were aware of where LGD's heroes were and capitalized on it very quickly. These moves need to happen super fast. That's the nice thing about having the Lina, having the Laguna, and having those burst heroes.
Still though, as we can see, Ame, the anti-mage at the top, was not involved in that last effect, keeping himself well ahead of the pack. Panther Style next up.
And his, we touched on it slightly during the beginning of the game, but him matching up. During this versus the Sven, doesn't match up incredibly well, of course, unless you're very far ahead. But versus Lina and Nature's Prophet, it's the dream.
Shadowblade on 11 as well, so more catch potential for LGD if they want to try and look for these fights.
He's so farmed. He's more farmed than his Death Prophet. 150 CS on that off-lane mag. Pretty ridiculous.
See what they can get done here. DC grouping up as 4 up towards the top. They're actually going to bring in Abed as well. So the full lineup up on this top lane. I mean, are DC at a point where they can simply 5-man and start to take these tier 2s down?
No, it's still scary. Like you have the threat of the Blink Dagger versus the Mag, and there's still the Kunkabo. That's the thing that we haven't really gotten to see because Victoria was very underleveled. He didn't get level 6 until a couple minutes ago, about 3-4 minutes ago. And now it looks like they're trying to make some action happen, perhaps.
Radiant's top tower.
Kind of all gathered, but now they're very afraid. They don't see anybody from the side of DC, and they have very aggressive deep warriors, so they know something's going on right now. All sticking together, sticking very close around. 11, gonna step up with that Shadow Blade, go for some scout. DC now has 2 ways to start the fight with Boba with the Blink Dagger. DC wants to farm that BKB on Sven.
He's relatively
next step.
Close, isn't he, Mason? Yeah.
It's getting close, yeah. Abed also finished up the Bloodstone, so that'll help. If they can give him a fast amount of Bloodstone charges, that's one of the okay ways to make sure that your mana doesn't get burned too fast from Anti-Mage. If you have a crazy amount of charges, just regen it too quickly.
And you can see overall, the actual overall net worth hopping between the two sides as they're pretty much bang on at this midpoint.
Now LGD's looking to make the fight happen. Picked up the Soul Booster on the Death Prophet, a bit more HP, feeling a little bit squishy before they wanted to take that fight.
1 RP, and we know the incredible amount of destruction and power that can follow through from LGD's lineup if 11 gets that initiation.
Dubu draws a circle around all of LGD's heroes, expecting this kind of move happening. Maybe shows himself, starts threatening the tower with Exorcism. DC are in the vicinity. They continue the split push with Forev and Abed. But still, not wanting to really take a head-on fight just yet when they don't have that BKB on Sven.
This will be a free tier 2.
Once the Exorcism's down, they could consider it, because that's a lot of the damage that does go down. But still a bit scary fighting into LGD's RP with the Kunkka boat on top.
And LGD themselves, they have got the potential to go to the tier 2 on the top lane and take more if they wish. DC backing off in this bottom lane as soon as Arme shows his face.
This Anti-Mage is getting too big. Almost 13,000 net worth compared to the 9,000 of the Sven.
Yeah, even if they lock him down and get Mason's hands on him at this stage, still almost certainly going to be the chance for him to escape. Especially considering the backup, the lineup that Arme has around him.
Ahmed's going for the Aghanims. Next up item, it looks like. Picks up the point booster. Great spells to reflect this game. All those different stuns and disables that are coming out, even the Orchid from Forev. Does have the Manta Style to remove that one, but in case it does come out, he does have the benefit of the Ags when he gets it. So this ward by DC is very good that they place in their defensive jungle. It's a very natural ward that we see placed versus anti-mages and versus these heavy farming heroes. You always want to, you know he's going to eventually go into your jungle just how mobile and how fast he does farm. He will get into your jungle, so at least watching that is very important. Pace slows down quite a lot though, 6 to 8, 21 minutes.
Yeah, and as you said, you've really got to feel that this is definitely LGD being happier with this sort of passiveness.
Yeah.
With that, just the speed that this anti-mage is climbing.
Yeah, the Death Prophet's not farming a crazy amount, but he's not the one that, you know, he matters, but he's not. Oh, the RP actually off the mark. The Blink Dagger pickup from Abed, able to juke it out. The unexpected blink.
Now DC, they're going to try and do something off the back of that whiffed RP. Smoking up Bulba to the high ground. They could look for Roche. This is also definitely an opportunity with no RP available.
They know this is going on though. They were pinging it out. They look like they want to try to make an engagement. With no RP, it can be very tough. And Forev has been scouting non-stop with those treants.
Yeah, smart move here from DC. They see there's no RP. They know that they necessarily can't take a fight because of one up being down, but they can certainly look for an objective like that. Grabbing the Aegis, getting into the hands of Mason.
They see Abed, who does not have the Aegis. Looks like they want to try to make a go on him. 11.
Oh, yeah, he could be in a lot of trouble there. 11 looking for the setup. Abed will be gone on, jumping and kills himself immediately. Knows that there's no escape. Other than taking himself out, he will be down for just the 10 seconds.
But that is the 12 charge Bloodstone that does get dropped down. And They have the Aegis. They don't expect that kind of aggressive coming out from LGD. And during all this now too, Yame just still continues to farm. Almost the Aghanims finished up, 200 gold away.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to catch him.
Yeah.
Once that Axe is on.
It's already super hard to bring down. Still, the two supports from LGD are playing very safe though. They're not trying to make these risky plays. If you watch a lot of teams, they might go for more epic pickups. They're understanding what the nature of their lineup is. They're sitting either 2 heroes behind the Death Prophet or 2 heroes behind the Anti-Mage majority of the times.
Not only do they have this Axe now done on Ame, they're looking to get the Lotus Orb out on 11. So another way that they can make sure that this Anti-Mage has full control during these team fights.
Sentry Ward gets placed down 11, actually walks up, gonna get brought down.
Yeah, they find that even though the silence comes out onto them, the Godstrike's already there. DC, can they get more out of this though? They'll move down this top lane, they should be able to find a tier 2. No Magnus for 45 seconds, that's quite an opening for DC to use. So they go for anything else. They do still have the Aegis on Mason, a couple of seconds left on Godstrike, and they're gonna try and push in even further.
Ame's gonna trade though. He's gonna go right up onto the high ground, and he hits pretty darn hard on those towers right now. They have to back up.
Arpeg actually going straight in. He's just bursted down the cook, and Somnus trying to lead him with the Ice Blasters there. False Promise comes out just in time. Maybe taking a lot of damage.
The split push. Ame's getting the tier 3 right now.
Yeah, that's one tower down in the mid lane. DC on the TP back. Dubu will make it. And the rest of them, though, Lightstrike trying to hold back the side of LGD. They've found Bulber in the sidelines. The Ghost still out. They'll get the Sand King at least. And the rest of DC do escape. But as you say, DC, they do not get the tier 3, whereas LGD, having Ame clearing out that mid. This Anti-Mage, we've talked about it getting out of hand, and it really feels like, Fog, what is their answer to this Anti-Mage? How do they deal with him, whether it be him turning up to a fight, whether it be him going for the split push plays? He just seems a fair few steps ahead of what DC can offer in this game at the moment.
Yeah, they have to pretty much chain lock him down and hope that there's no Oracle there to save him, but Ame's not playing in the fights. He doesn't need to still. He's just like, okay, I'm going to farm until I have my Abyssal Blade, and that's when I can actually just blink on top of Sven and deal with him, or just blink on top of Lina and burst her instantly. Once that Basher slash Abyssal Blade up, oh man, this could be a big RP.
He's got up here as well. He's eyeing it up. Won't go for it on our bed.
A little bit of hesitation there. Wrath of Nature comes out. They're trying to get onto 11 here, but unable to close the distance. So the solutions are going to have to just be chain locking down that Anti-Mage somehow, maybe going for a Sheep Stick on somebody later on to deal with that, but there is an Aghanims, so it can be super annoying. You can hex yourself, and
Ame's
a lot of ways to save him.
Basher complete as well now.
Yeah, 6,000 ahead of Sven.
Absolutely incredible. Mason really needs that next big item or two to be able to stand toe-to-toe in the fights. He's working towards the Assault Cuirass.
I'll take your tribute.
But it really is going to be so difficult for DC to just find that chance to do something around the Anti-Mage.
Empower. Still racking up the gold. So LGD probably waiting for that Aegis to tick out. It's got about 1 more minute left on it, and then they can take a big straight-up 5v5 fight. Not really be too concerned. Maybe wanted to pick up a gem of their own. Could be the next investment opportunity for Victoria.
Do see him under this ward. They want to try and make the jump. Bulber coming in and has the dust straight away with the Stormhammer. Ice Blast, everything coming through. 11's guys. Quick reactions there from DC as soon as the Magnus came under their vision.
Yeah, LGD destroyed one of the wards, but the secondary ward gets placed down. And
look at this again. Who's on the split push? Arme's ready to start bringing them back. We'll see how much damage they...
Mason goes in.
Mason, he's gone straight in with the stun.
The dodge Laguna with the Yules.
Can they actually bring him down? He's got the False Promise 11 now, coming in with the RP onto Arbed. Correct does kill off the Oracle on the back of it all, but they've lost the Aegis on Mason. Bulber being forced back. There's the ult from Arme to burst down.
Oh, and they get Mason.
And they bring him back as well. The BKB not going to save Mason as he's down as well. Arme with a triple kill.
Absolutely devastating there.
It really feels like the draft, that final pick, Anti-Mage. Absolutely genius here from LGD.
He's crushing it. Maybe also there gets the Yules off as the Laguna Blade is coming off, ends up surviving, gets Oracle ulted, and then with a beautiful RP follow-up from 11. Absolutely perfectly synchronized.
We'll see it again here.
Boba even stuns the Oracle as the fight goes on, so he tries to make sure that there's no save there, but yeah, maybe gets that Yules off, and then 11 gets the RP onto him, and then Ame with the follow-up. There's just no way that DC can take the fight after that.
Yeah, we saw, with this Sven being where he is, Mason, he can offer a little bit with the God Strength, but as soon as that ult's gone, There is nothing that he can do against these beefy cores of LGD, and LGD straight down the mid lane. Looking to take the racks, they do have the fortification, 15 seconds to the Sven's back. It's hard as a meeting, in fact, Bulma jumping in, they've got the ice bombs as well. But Armin trying to finish up Bulma. Bulma does get himself out to the side, still alive for the time being, finally goes down. Crip Swarm there from maybe to bring him down. LGD will find the mid melee racks.
Oh man, and he's got Abyssal Blade now. This is
28 minutes in. Arme's anti-mage farming out of this world.
Dire's top shrine is
yeah,
under
he's got 410 CS, Owen, at 28 minutes. Almost 14 CS per minute right now at this point.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, LGD, as we said at the start, the lineup, this draft that they have, it looked terrifying on paper, and in this first 30 minutes of this game, it's looking to be exactly as we expected. LGD with very little few flaws in their execution. They've kept all tier 3s alive. They've managed to close in on this mid lane, and they have this anti-mage nearly 10,000 net worth ahead of Mason Sven.
Yeah, it's really nice that they have, you know, the Death Prophet, Crypt Swarm, plus the Magnus Shockwave to go to stall it. They do try to make the go here.
They've got the Ice Blast, they do have the stun, but again, the false promise is there. He has the self-fuel, trying to get himself out. This should be enough damage, but 11 comes in with a 3-man RP!
And the bullet!
Here comes the shot! Triple kill for Arme! Mason wants the BKB, trying to tap the heels, bringing
maybe he's alive.
Back up to full life. Barber looking to get off the epicenter, he does, but he's down. Arme gets the ultra, he's looking for the rampage, but Farem sprouts him back. They're gonna TP out.
They get the silence. He's gone for the rampage.
Can he get the rampage? He can! Arme playing out of his mind. The team around him going absolutely insane. LGD 14,000 net worth lead. They're ready to close in on this top lane.
That team fight execution, literally perfect. Maybe gets false promised, gets the Yules off, gets full healed in the fight while the RP comes out with the boat follow-up.
Such beautiful synergy just between all of the heroes on LGD's lineup. Look at this attempt. They go in, but straight away, the Yules is there, the stun's purged off, and bam. They look at
with the Fate's Edict as it comes up. The Fate's Edict eats the Laguna, so no damage.
An 11 with that positioning, perfect RP into the shark there from Victoria.
And then typical AM contribution. Walks in, man avoids, get 3 kills.
Easy rampage for Arme, level 25. Pushing on this top lane, they'll have Mason back up in 5 seconds. Fareb as well, and a few more. But this top rack is almost certainly going to be got Bulba leading in. They do have the Laguna the Ice Blast. That's 11 down. But the melee racks are already gone on this top lane. DC will not be able to hold on to those. DC, can they turn this around? What is the ideal situation for DC?
I'm not seeing too many options.
I mean, this
to be honest.
Age.
He is way too massive. He's going to have AC finished up too to deal with the physical damage that would be there to maybe bring him down, but level 25 already, almost 3,000 life on this anti-mage. You look at DC's damage output, they can't kill that. They have to have everything land on him perfectly to bring it down, but there's an Oracle, there's a Kunkka, and then if you do, there's still the Death Prophet that's there, who's not a force to be reckoned with either. Shiva's about to be picked up, 23 charge Bloodstone, an absolute menace.
I mean, we saw their Arme's GPM at the moment, nearly reaching the 900 at this stage of the game. DC
trying to do the desperate move here, but it gets scouted out by an illusion. They've got to bail.
This is so scary. They know that there's no Magnus for 20 seconds, but LGD will almost certainly be prepared to fight without that. They're going to self-X the Death Prophet, leading up forward. She will be jumped upon. Ice Blast thrown back. Won't quite find the connection, but DC are making the space to finish this off. Now they're coming back in. Ice Blast passes across. Maybe can he get in the pin in time? No, he can't. They will get it. They get the light strike there onto the anti-mage. You see Mason have a couple of tickles onto Arme, but DC, they're losing 3. Mason's trying to get himself out there.
Oh, but the X.
It's already been used. He's going to get X back. He has the war cry.
They've got the catch.
But they're chasing in from the side. Maybe wraps in. They've got the control. They'll burst through the Aegis immediately. And they're ready for round 2. GG is born. LGD knocking Digital Chaos out of the tournament 2-0. 11 with an RP of celebration. What a performance. This team, I mean, out of all of the sides that we've seen in the upper bracket and such, people, they may have kind of been sleeping on this LGD team, but bam, they've shown us that these guys are incredible.
It's just that Magnus, how much farm he actually does get, the threat of the RP, that empower, the high level in power, just allowing Ame to farm all over the map while maybe another forward pressure, giving him all the space in the world to be that carry. But that last pick anti-mage was absolutely devastating versus the cores of DC.
I mean, we saw DC, they sort of realized that at the start. They tried to shut down Ame, but immediately, as soon as he got that first sort of, those first core items, the Battle Fury, there was just no stopping him.
He still got it so early. He still got that Battle Fury sub 15-minute mark, which is basically what a free farm anti-mage does.
And every fight as well. The support backup from LGD constantly coming in with the saves.
Perfect timing from like the Force Promises plus the Yules on maybe and the rotations. That first maybe rotation from the Death Prophet on that top lane, that triple kill, just sets the